Hello everyone, welcome to the first video of our YouTube series. As I promised, in this YouTube series, I will take some challenging and hard IELTS topics, and I will do my best to break them down into smaller and manageable pieces, to explain them in an easier way so that you can have a clear image of what this hard concept means, what is this hard topic. So my goal is help you practice. That's why follow along, stay tuned, and let's practice together. And the first topic of this series is global warming. I chose the topic, it's because this is a type of a topic which is discussed by world leaders at international meetings. It's a type of a topic which affects everyone. It's not a local issue, it's a global issue. And even like famous celebrities bring these under the spotlight. I remember, I think Leo DiCaprio, while receiving his first Oscar, he was talking about global warming. Of course, it was related to the movie Revenant. Now let's try to understand, what does the global warming actually mean? So simply put, it means that the Earth's average temperature is slowly rising over time. And this rise changes everything. It changes the weather, it changes the nature, it changes human life as well. So it changes the weather in a way that it causes more extreme events like heat waves, storms, floods, and droughts. It changes the nature in a way that it leads to melting ice, rising seas, forest loss. Even some species go extinct, and it also affects the human life. It affects our health. It affects the accessibility of food and water supply, homes and economies. And I believe that in order to understand the global warming, we need to get familiar with two main concepts. The starting point, I believe, are these two main concepts. The first one is greenhouse gases and greenhouse, and then the greenhouse effect. Well, as you know, greenhouse is a structure, type of a structure. It is usually made of glass or clear plastic, which traps the sun's heat to create warm environment for plants. And the same idea applies to the Earth. In the greenhouse effect, some of the gases in the atmosphere trap the heat and they warm the planet. And that's what we call the greenhouse effect. Greenhouse gases are carbon dioxide and methane, and of course some others, but we don't necessarily look at them. So carbon dioxide and methane are most important greenhouse gases, and these gases stay in the Earth's atmosphere and they trap the sunlight. They prevent the sunlight from escaping back into the space. And as a result, we get the effect as if we have the heater around the Earth. Okay, so imagine the Earth's surface and we have greenhouse gases all around it, and they trap the sunlight, they hug each other, and that's why the heat is kept around the Earth. It looks like as if we have put a heater around the Earth. And this way, the planet gets warmer and warmer. And now probably a natural question arises in your mind, which is, what do we do that ends up releasing greenhouse gases into the atmosphere? And by the way, this increase is incremental. It's getting bigger and bigger every day. Then what are the sources of greenhouse effects? So simply put, there are four main things that cause global warming. And these include burning fossil fuels, agriculture, deforestation, and industrial activities. And from now on, we will go through each of these and explain them one by one. What are fossil fuels? Guys, fossil fuels are natural sources of energy. Basically, when living organisms die, like human beings, plants, animals. And when they are buried underground over time with so much pressure, they turn into fossil fuels. All right. And the main fossil fuels are coal, oil, and natural gas. And we use fossil fuels almost everywhere in our daily life. For example, take coal. Coal is often burned in power plants to produce electricity, which makes our lights, computers, and phone. Oil is used to make gasoline and diesel for cars, buses, trucks, and without oil, transportation, as we know, would stop. Natural gas, on the other hand, is often used in homes for cooking and heating. Many stoves, ovens, heaters run on natural gas. So fossil fuels are also used in factories to produce steel, cement, plastics, and many other products we use in our everyday life. And in fact, most modern life depends heavily on fossil fuels. However, there is a problem. When fossil fuels are burned, they release gases like carbon dioxide into the air, which is exactly the same as we mentioned as greenhouse gas. These gases trap heat around the Earth and leads to global warming. So secondly, we have another big cause of global warming. It is deforestation, which means cutting down large areas of trees. Trees are called the lungs of the earth because they absorb carbon dioxide and give us oxygen. And when we cut them down, two things happen. First, we are left with fewer trees to take carbon dioxide. And also, the trees that are cut by us, they are often burned or left to rot. And during this process, they even add even more CO2 to the atmosphere. Like places like the Amazon rainforest are being cleared very quickly for farming, logging, building houses. And losing so many trees adds greenhouse gases and reduces the Earth's ability to clean the air naturally. Third one, guys, is industrial activities. Industrial activities are another major cause of global warming. Factories and industries make things we use every day, like clothes, phones, buildings, and food. But most factories run on fossil fuels, which release lots of CO2 and other greenhouse gases. Some industries, like cement or chemical factories, they even pollute more. And many factories also pollute the air, water, and soil, making the problem even worse. Over the last 100 years, industrial growth has been one of the main reasons that greenhouse gases have increased so fast. So the fourth factor is agriculture and livestock. They also contribute a lot to global warming. Of course, we need farming to grow food, but some practices release greenhouse gases. For example, funny enough, cows, sheep, and other animals, they produce methane gas when they digest the food. Methane is much more stronger than carbon dioxide at trapping the heat. And with millions of animals raised around the world, this adds up quickly. Farmers also use fertilizers, which release another greenhouse gas called nitrous oxide. Other human activities also add to global warming. For example, garbage in landfills. It also produces methane as it breaks down. Transportation, like cars, trucks, ships, they release a lot of CO2. Like even simple things we do in our daily life, like using too much electricity or wasting energy, make the problem worse. And then we are left with major effects of global warming. Now let's dive into various effects of global warming. The first one, guys, is rising sea levels. As the Earth heats up, obviously ice caps and glaciers start to melt, and this extra water goes into the oceans. And imagine the low-lying areas, islands, and coastal cities. They may flood, and millions of people could lose their home. Global warming also causes extreme weather patterns. Hotter temperatures can bring stronger storms and hurricanes. Some places get heavy rain and floods, while others face long droughts, which can destroy plant crops and make the water scarce. Heat waves make it dangerous to be outside. And also, we have the increased health risks like heat stroke. Another effect is, guys, the loss of the plants and animals. Many cannot adapt quickly to new temperatures or habitats, and some may become even extinct, which disturbs the balance of the ecosystem, which provides food, clean air, and water. Global warming also affects people directly. Hot weather increases heat-related illnesses such as malaria. Farming is affected too. Crops may fail. We can be left with food shortages and higher prices. And finally, global warming can hurt the economy. Extreme weather damages homes, roads, and crops, and governments spend a lot of money to recover, which affects everyone. Alright, but what can be done to tackle the global warming? Now, let's discuss the potential solutions for global warming. The good news is that the action is possible, both on an individual level and at the level of governments. Let's start with what we as individuals can do. Well, basically, we can reduce our carbon footprint. As you know, guys, the carbon footprint is a term which describes the total amount of carbon which is emitted by an individual or by a company. So it's a total amount of greenhouse gases like carbon dioxide that a person or company produces. So basically, it is how much we add to global warming by the things we do, like driving car, using electricity, or even when we eat. Simple steps like using public transport, walking, or cycling instead of driving can cut down on emissions. Reducing energy use at home is also very effective, turning off lights and electronics when not needed, or using energy-efficient appliances, and even switching to renewable energy sources like solar panels if possible. We can also make better choices about what we eat and consume. Eating less meat, avoiding food waste, recycling more can significantly reduce greenhouse gases. Of course, for some, these may not seem accessible or manageable things. Then those people can afford planting trees in our community. It also helps as trees naturally absorb carbon dioxide. And coming to the government, guys, governments can create policies that encourage the renewable energy, like wind, solar, and hydropower, instead of relying on fossil fuels. They can invest in public transport and infrastructure that reduces the car use, and they can enforce stricter regulations on industries to lower the emissions. Also, we have to mention that protecting the forests, promoting reforestation is another key step. Governments can also educate the citizens about climate change, making sure that people understand the problem and how, on an individual level, a regular person must take an action. So in reality, fighting global warming requires both individual effort and strong government action. and neither can solve the problem alone, but together they can make a real difference. So boy, stay tuned, see you in following videos.